Welcome back. Okay, let's just jump right into it, shall we? Is Deckard a human or a replicant? Or is Deckard a replicant or a human? There, that way we're not playing any favorites. Well, for the sake of discussion, let's completely ignore the fact that Ridley Scott, the filmmaker, the director himself, has said in no uncertain terms on multiple occasions that Deckard is a replicant and that it was always his intention to have Deckard as a replicant. Okay? We're just going to forget that. We're going to forget that and look at our evidence from the film itself. We're also going to forget the argument of, oh, well, he's clearly human in the book. Do androids dream of electric sheep? Therefore, he must be human in the movie. Why? Why must he be human in the movie because he's human in the book? The rest of the book is such a the rest of the movie is such a loose adaptation of the book. Why would that be a constant? Why? Let's look at some of the arguments and some of the counter-arguments. This is such a complicated issue. It's going to be a challenge to cram this into 10 minutes. Okay, one of the counter-arguments that I see a lot, saying that Deckard must be human, is he feels pain. Oh, he feels pain. Okay, because, you know, a replicant can't feel pain. What are you talking about? The other thing is, they say, oh, well, he bleeds. So do replicants. Okay, Roy Batty says it himself in the movie when he's talking to J.F. Sebastian. You know, when Sebastian says, you know, do something. He's like, what? We don't do tricks. And he says, we're not mechanical, we're physical. Now, do you actually understand what that means? We're not mechanical, i.e., we're not robots. We're physical, i.e., we're genetically engineered artificial life forms, meaning they are, in effect, human. They're just artificially created humans with enhanced abilities, you know, enhanced brains, enhanced strength, things like that. People are like, well, you know, Deckard feels pain and so forth, so he can't be a replicant. Why not? If they could factor in all of these other things into the genetic structure of a replicant, why could they not also factor in feeling pain? Maybe Roy and Leon and everybody don't feel pain because of what they were designed to do. They were designed to work in very harsh environments on off-world colonies. They were not designed to be walking around Earth getting beat up by people. Okay? Now, is that part of Deckard's design, if Deckard is a replicant? Quite possibly. Because part of Deckard's design is very similar to Rachel's design. Rachel was designed to be a replicant that thought it was human. A replicant that did not know it was a replicant. That's a big clue! And I can't believe people don't miss it when it's like right there in your face the whole time. Look what they did with Rachel. Rachel was a replicant that did not know she was a replicant. How did they hide the truth from her? Simple. Memory implants. Tyrell and Deckard are talking about it shortly after he does the Voight-Kampff test on Rachel. They implanted memories from Tyrell's niece into Rachel's mind so that she thought she had a past. She thought she was human. But she wasn't. She was a replicant. So why is it such a stretch to think that they couldn't have done the same thing with Deckard? It's not a stretch at all. To talk about memories, okay, look how much replicants cling to their memories. Even fully in the knowledge that they're false. They cling to that because it's all they have. Look at Leon when he goes back to his apartment to get his precious photos. Photos. Memories made physical. Look at Deckard's apartment. Full of photos. We don't know what Deckard's past is. We don't know. We've never been told. We weren't shown. All we know is what we see in the here and now. All we know is what Deckard thinks he knows. There's, of course, the biggest clue of all, the unicorn dream. Now, in the original cuts, the theatrical and international cut, the unicorn dream sequence was not present. So, when Deckard sees the little origami unicorn, clearly left there by Gaff, at the end, and he just kind of crumples it up and nods, we didn't know what that meant. because we didn't have the context, because the unicorn scene wasn't in there. When it was put back in for the director's cut and the final cut, suddenly that scene makes so much more sense. Remember when Deckard is talking to Rachel? Rachel is the big clue. She's like, you know, she's the big clue, and I can't believe everybody missed this. Look when Deckard is talking to Rachel and asking her what she remembers about her past, and he explains to her that those aren't your memories, they're someone else's, they're Tyrell's nieces. How does he know that? Because he looked at her file. He looked at her file, read got, you know, the general gist of what her memory implants were, and familiarized himself with her. So he knows all about her and her memories because he's read her file. So Deckard is a replicant. Gaff leaves a origami unicorn on his doorstep. Stands to reason that maybe Gaff has read Deckard's file. And why is Gaff always hanging around anyway? Did you ever wonder about that? Why would Gaff always be hanging around? Isn't he just another Blade Runner? Doesn't he have something else he could be doing, rather than checking up on Deckard all the time? If Deckard is a replicant, designed to hunt down other replicants under the pretense of thinking that he's human, does it not stand to reason that, I mean, I think it's a fairly safe assumption that this is something that they haven't done before, and we're actually seeing something of an experiment in the works here. So it stands to reason that they'd have a genuine Blade Runner, human, keeping tabs on him, checking up on him, making sure that he's doing what he was programmed to do. I could keep going. I could just keep going and going and going. There is just such overwhelming evidence in the film to suggest that Deckard is in fact a replicant. And then of course there's the obvious one, like when he's talking to Rachel in the bathroom, and for that brief second you see his eyes glow in the same way that you only ever see replicants' eyes glow. Some people just take that as a dead giveaway right there. It's like, okay, if you weren't picking up on the clues, there it is right there. His eyes are glowing like a replicant, only replicants' eyes glow like that, therefore he's a replicant. Done deal. When you think about it, it makes perfect logical sense. Nexus 6 replicants are bloody dangerous. They got enhanced strength, enhanced smarts. Well, Roy Batty did anyway. Leon wasn't terribly bright, but he was strong, very strong. It stands to reason that if you can send in another replicant to do the dirty work for you, why wouldn't you? So why would you need that replicant to think he was human? Simple! Simple! Look how the replicants band together. United. Because they identify with each other. You know, they've all got different functions. They've all got different purposes originally. But despite those differences, they band together because they share a kinship in being fellow replicants. So why would a replicant willingly take out its own kind? It just wouldn't do it. It just wouldn't. So you get this replicant to think that it's human, and it just assumes it's a human doing its job, helping out other humans. So why didn't Gaff take them both out at the end? Because obviously if he left the origami unicorn there, he had been there, and he'd been keeping tabs on them the whole time, so he clearly knew what was going on. So why did he let them go? Well, because I think Gaff realized there's more to being human than simply being human. In the case of Deckard and Rachel, they essentially became human through their actions and through their emotions. So Gaff let him go, or at the very least gave them a head start. We don't really know. Unless you watch the old versions in which it has a sappy, happy ending. But we don't really believe that, do we? The other thing, actually one final thing which I meant to mention before. People talk about, well, how can Deckard be a replicant because he gets beat up so much and takes so much damage? It's like, well, think about it. We've already established how strong Roy and Leon are as fighters, like hand-to-hand fighters, and just their sheer brute strength. Do you honestly think any normal human could take the beatings that Deckard takes? I mean, really. No way. No freaking way. So I guess I've kind of answered the question as to whether or not I think Deckard is a replicant. I think he is definitely a replicant. And if you honestly think he's human, well, kudos on having your own interpretation, but honestly, I think you're completely dead wrong. There's just so much evidence to the contrary. And, you know, it's like the evidence saying he's human is like this. The evidence suggesting he's a replicant is like this. Like, you really gotta sit down and look at the clues, because they're all there. They are all there in the movie. And pay close attention to Rachel's story, because I guarantee you that story pretty much parallels what Deckard actually is and how he was created. Anyway, see you in part 5. Hopefully the last one.